Today we are going to learn how to identify verbs that are in different conjugations in Latin. A conjugation is simply just a group of verbs. It's how we group verbs together so that we know how to put endings on the verbs and how to translate them. I am going to show you 4 different types of conjugations in Latin. Here is an example of a verb in the first conjugation. Amo, amara. Amo, amara is in the first conjugation. How we know this is by looking at the last 3 letters of the second principal part. Amo is the first principal part, and amara is the second principal part. We see A-R-E at the end of the second principal part. This tells us it is a first conjugation verb. Now we will look at a second conjugation verb. Dokeo, dokera, is a second conjugation verb. We know this by looking at the second principal part. Dokera is the second principal part. When we look at the last 3 letters of the second principal part, we see long E-R-E. The long E-R-E tells us it's part of the second conjugation of Latin verbs. Next, we will look at a verb in the third conjugation of Latin verbs. Once again, we're going to look at the second principal part of pono ponera, which is ponera, and we're going to look at the last 3 letters. Here, we see a short E-R-E. When we see a short E-R-E at the end of the second principal part, we know it's a third conjugation verb. The next conjugation is the third I-O conjugation. We know it's in the third conjugation because of the short E-R-E in the second principal part. However, it's called a third I-O because of the I-O that is on the end of the first principal part. So if we see a verb that is third conjugation, we also have to look at the first principal part to make sure if it just says O or IO on the end. And if it says IO, it equals a third declension or a third conjugation IO verb. Finally, we will look at the fourth conjugation verb. Audio, audira, is a fourth conjugation verb. We know this because we look at the last 3 letters of the second principal part, and it says I-R-E. If you have a verb and in the second principal part it says I-R-E at the end of the second principal part, it is a fourth conjugation. Do not get confused about the I-O on the end of this verb. We have to look at the second principal part first and determine, okay, I-R-E is definitely fourth conjugation. If it said short E-R-E here, and it was an I-O in the first principal part, then it would be a third I-O. But if it says I-R-E in the second principal part, we know it has to be a fourth conjugation verb. So, to review, to identify a conjugation of a verb, we need to look at the last 3 letters of the second principal part of a verb. For the first conjugation, we look at the last 3 and we see A-R-E. So any verb with the second principal part ending in A-R-E is a first conjugation. Any verb ending in long E-R-E in the second principal part belongs in the second conjugation. Any verb in the second principal part ending in short E-R-E belongs in the third conjugation. Any verb ending in short E-R-E in the second principal part and an I-O in the first principal part is a third I-O conjugation verb. And finally, any verb ending in I-R-E in the second principal part belongs in the fourth conjugation. I hope you've learned something today, and I hope you have an easy way to remember what conjugation verbs are in the Latin language. Thank you.